All right, another thing that came up when I put it, I had to take these air dams off because the wires were reversed for my marker versus directional lights up front. These baffle pieces of rubber in here. One of the questions came up is, what do I use to attach those? There's a hole in the top and a hole in the bottom that goes through the bumper bracket, and I just use these. They're from the factory. They're a metal clip, which is unobtainable at this point unless you have some old stock. But these work fine. They're the right size hole. Really just push them through. They work great, and they're pretty much the same shape, and they won't rust out. So that's fine. But that's a slightly better shot of that gasket in there. I think you can see it better now. You can see where I have the clip pushed in right here. Same thing on this side. You can see the clip back in there. Right there. And you can kind of see what that gasket does. It just goes back and then wraps around the face of the core support. Very easy. Should help. Should work good. Okay, now I've got to free up some slack on that. Anyway, yeah, I had to take these upper baffles off I had the polarity on my the lights, the marker lights versus directional lights was backwards, so I had to swap that around. Anyway, okay, today we're on to the taillight assemblies. So I took the assemblies, the rear reflector housings, and I sandblasted them. Then I painted the outside black, obviously. And I just did a coat of the Duplicolor chrome on the inside just to brighten that up a little bit because it was, you know, it's quite old. It's getting a little dull. Then I put the new sockets in. I don't believe these are actually the right sockets for this, but they work fine. The reason I wanted this type of socket was because it has a separate ground wire for each piece. So you're not relying on the ground through the housing. It's just a personal preference of mine. The housing ground works fine. That's the way the stock unit worked. But I prefer to have a separate ground wire that I'm not chasing ground faults later. Okay, so then I take the lenses. Now, I expected there would be a gasket in here between the lens and the housing. Apparently there is not. I also took my lenses and I popped the chrome strips off and I powder coated them black just because I thought it would look cool. I got a lot of black going on here, so just trying to tie everything together better. And these are new aftermarket lenses. I got them from Ames Performance Engineering, and they look good. Don't really have any issue with them. So the next step is simply to attach these with 4 screws, just like so. Again, I'm not really sure why they didn't put a gasket in there, but whatever. There is this little rubber bumper here that kind of maintains the depth of the tail panel. And then there is a rubber gasket that goes around the outside, which I will show you when I get to that part. So sit tight. All right, these are the taillight assemblies all assembled. They have this rubber seal that goes between the tail panel and the light, and this little step in it is the outside that goes towards the tail panel. So let's put them in. Now these use a cool little fastener here. It's like a carriage bolt that slides in a hole here and then down a slot, and then there's this little spring-loaded clip, which I believe is supposed to kind of bite in a little bit and give it a good ground. I don't see that happening because I have so much coating on there between the bed liner and, not the bed liner, the lizard skin and the trunk paint. So anyway, that's kind of how they look. Let's see if we can get them in there. I still have these big tire weights in the back of the trunk here because I'm trying to get some additional weight in the rear because the front end's getting a little scary heavy and I don't want it tipping off the lift. Let's see. So I'm just going to pull my wires back and out of the way. So they're ready, and it's as simple as slipping them over these posts. Then the 4 nuts. The nuts have a little bit of an aggressive bit on them too. That's again to keep the, oh, this one's a little tricky because it's right behind that bulb. Oh crap. Where'd it go? Stuck on the magnet. Okay, then we just tighten those up and that's it. Then we'll do the wiring up. Now, if we look out here, this is kind of how they reveal. Got to tighten this side in, obviously. Then we'll just even them up, and that looks good. Good looking setup. Okay, taillights are in, adjusted. That's as close as I can get them. Also got the trunk latch in, the trunk key, and I mounted up the rear spoiler, which I think looks pretty good. So, next step is I am going to move on to, I think I'm going to mount up the bumper next. So we'll go from there. I'll bring you back when I got something to show you. Okay, got my brake lights, tail lights all wired up. Got my LED bulbs in there. My plate light is also working. Bumper's on. Everything has kind of come together back here. I've still got to loom up the wires. I've got them all connected, but I haven't loomed them up yet. But I do have an issue with my brake lights. Everything that seems to be going through the steering column right now is not working. So either I got the wrong connector on that or the pinout's wrong or something. So I'm going to pull the gauge panel back out and work through that problem. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's got to be something dumb because the directionals don't work, the brake lights don't work, pretty much the horn doesn't work. So everything going through the steering column is dead. So we'll deal with that tomorrow. But right now we're just going to call this a win. Got my LED lights in there. Those are working good. They're very bright. The brake lights are even much brighter. So this is a good start. Yeah, I just got to loom it up and this part will be done.